Risotto. Many people think it's just too much trouble to make, and it's easy to get wrong, but I'm going to show you just how simple it is, really, and it's also very therapeutic. Now, the thing is, you do have to, for classic risotto, in my opinion, you have to dedicate yourself about 20 minutes of time where you can't be distracted by the phone or someone coming to the front door, whatever. I'm doing a wild mushroom risotto today, but it's the same principle for any risotto. What we're looking at is some basic ingredients that you start frying off first. We've got onions, butter, we've got garlic, thyme, and a couple of bay leaves, and they're frying around in this pan until they're softened. Next thing we want to do is add our rice. Now, what about rice? Now, which rice do you choose? Now, what we're looking at, that most people use long grain rice for everything, okay? Now, it's not the right one to use for a risotto. Long grain rice is, as it says, it's a long grain, it's very skinny, thin little beads of rice. It doesn't give off as much starch. What we're looking for is a short grain rice, arborio. You can use pudding rice, still not going to be quite as good, but arborio or carnaroli, those are the two classic risotto rices, and that's what you should be looking for in the supermarket. A lot of them will be flagged up risotto rice, so you can get them like that. Now, as I said, onions, garlic, thyme, bay, cooking there, and this is the stage where you add the rice. And what we're looking for is a sort of toasted effect. We want the rice to look slightly translucent, so give it about 2 minutes cooking with those lovely flavours, all right? And assuming they've had the 2 minutes, then you can get on with the rest of your flavourings. In this case, as I said to you, we're using wild mushrooms. Now, there's a whole host you can get in the supermarket with these. A lot of them in the supermarket are domesticated wild mushrooms, if you get my drift. Now, we've got horse chestnut mushrooms here. We've got these little oyster mushrooms, yellow oyster mushrooms. You've got something that sounds like shumaki or something. They're little sort of Japanese. Anyway, wild mushrooms, that's the idea. You can get them in the supermarket. Very simple. Now, the flavour, though, comes from buying a product like this. This is dried ceps or dried porcini, which we've just soaked in some boiling water for about 20 minutes. Swell them up. Get that lovely flavour. That's what's going into the pan. That's what's going to give you a wild mushroom risotto, that extra difference of flavour. Give it a good squeeze and then just roughly chop them up like that, okay? In they go. Mix those in together with our other mushrooms. Pop those in there like that. Stir them in. Lovely flavours, lovely. And you're going to really enjoy this. And then we take our soaking liquor. Now, this is where you pour this in quite carefully, because you'll find that it'll be quite sort of gritty or dirty at the bottom. So you pour that in, and you can see it's slightly gravelly at the bottom there like that. Then you mix that up. Now, this is where we get onto the principal risotto. What we're looking for is liquid to go in to be absorbed before you add the next liquid. So in goes some red wine here. Turn up the heat, and you cook that away until that red wine has disappeared, okay? Before you start adding some stock. In this case, vegetable stock, it could be chicken stock. Add that, boil it away vigorously until it's disappeared before you add the next ladle. That's going to take you about 15, 18 minutes until we come across something like this. It's still creamy. That's what we're looking for. The stock should be very hot when it's poured in, by the way. Now, what we're looking at is that as the rice cooks, it releases starches, which creates this lovely sort of soupy effect. Risotto is not like a pilaf. It should not be dry, and it should give a little bit on the plate. Now, to enrich that, we're going to add butter, and we're going to add a lot of Parmesan cheese. And a lot of people would say a lot of butter. But this is what gives it that silkiness that we're looking for. It's going to be beautiful. Mix that up, and then in goes the cheese. And this is a really gorgeous risotto. It's going to have that lovely texture. You can see what I'm saying? It's still quite soupy. Let's get a nice bowl and scoop some in there like that. Oozing rich flavours. There's a little bit of thyme in there. Let's move that out. And that one there, just a little sprig of parsley. A lovely wild mushroom risotto.